Noise is everywhere. Real ideas are disappearing. Your new home for intellectual curation was not created to entertain distracted minds. It was built to transform ideas into power. Because somewhere between endless scrolling, empty motivation, and disposable content, people stopped thinking deeply. They started consuming everything and remembering nothing. The most dangerous part is that it feels normal. Millions of people wake up every day overloaded with information, yet completely lost. More videos, more opinions, more advice, but no clarity, no direction, no real transformation. Just mental clutter disguised as knowledge. That is why the golden paragraph exists, not to flood your mind with more content, but to extract the rare ideas that actually change the way a person thinks, acts, builds, leads, survives, and evolves. The kind of ideas hidden inside timeless books, psychology, philosophy, discipline, wealth, and human behavior. Because history has always belonged to people who learned how to think differently. And once the right idea enters your mind, it becomes impossible to see the world the same way again. The world is drowning in useless information. Attention became the most expensive resource on Earth, and most people are giving it away for free. Every day begins the same way. Fast videos, endless opinions, constant stimulation, a screen full of noise fighting for control of the mind. Information moves faster than ever, yet focus is collapsing. People consume more content in 1 week than previous generations consumed in years, and still feel mentally empty. Because information alone changes nothing. A distracted mind can read 100 books and still remain stuck. The problem is not lack of access anymore. The problem is drowning in shallow content that creates the illusion of growth while quietly destroying clarity, patience, and critical thinking. That is why random consumption became dangerous. One powerful idea applied deeply is worth more than 1,000 forgotten videos. Real transformation does not come from consuming more. It comes from finding the ideas that stay in your mind long after the screen turns off. And almost nobody is searching for those ideas anymore. The hidden power inside great ideas. Every major change in life begins invisibly, not with money, not with luck, not with perfect timing. It begins with a thought powerful enough to interrupt an old pattern. One idea can destroy years of fear. Another can completely change the way someone sees discipline, wealth, failure, relationships, or purpose. That is how transformation really happens. A single sentence from the right book can stay inside the mind for years, quietly reshaping decisions, quietly changing behavior, quietly building a different future while nobody else notices. Most people overlook this because they search for dramatic change. But the strongest ideas rarely arrive loudly. They arrive with clarity. And once they connect emotionally, they become impossible to ignore. This channel was built around that principle. Not endless information, not recycled motivation, only ideas with the power to stay with you after the video ends. Ideas that sharpen thinking, expose blind spots, and create real movement in real life. Because the mind changes first. Everything else follows. Why smart people still feel lost. Intelligence means nothing without direction. Some of the most informed people in the world still feel stuck. They read constantly, watch educational content every day, learn new strategies, new philosophies, new systems, yet nothing changes. The mind becomes crowded, but life stays exactly the same. That frustration slowly turns into exhaustion, because knowledge without action creates paralysis. Too many ideas, too many perspectives, too many voices competing inside the head at the same time. Eventually, people stop trusting their own thinking. They overanalyze everything and execute nothing. Modern distraction made this worse. The world rewards stimulation, not reflection. People became addicted to consuming insights instead of applying them. They confuse intellectual entertainment with personal growth. And without noticing, they lose clarity, confidence, and momentum. That is the gap this channel was created to fill, not to impress you with information, but to help transform deep ideas into clear thinking, practical action, and real change. Because knowledge only becomes powerful when it starts changing behavior. This is where your next version begins. The mind you build today becomes the life you live tomorrow. Every idea repeated daily shapes identity. Every perspective absorbed over time changes decisions, habits, standards, and direction. That is why the content surrounding you matters more than most people realize. The brain adapts to whatever it consumes consistently. Most environments weaken attention. This one was built to sharpen it. The Golden Paragraph is more than a channel about books or ideas. It is a place for people who refuse to think small, people searching for clarity in a distracted world, people who still believe intelligence, discipline, self-mastery, and deep thinking matter. That is why you are here. 1 year from now, the ideas you choose to consume will either build a stronger mind or reinforce the same patterns keeping you stuck. The difference begins with what enters your mind every single day. And if you stayed until this moment, part of you already understands that. This is your new home for intellectual curation. Welcome to the Golden Paragraph.